Welcome back to another episode of the We Get to Do This podcast, everyone. In this episode, we got to talk to Christine Hernandez and Taylor Thomas, who are the owner-founders of Thomas Endurance Coaching, the Growth Circle, and Impact Initiative.
It was so fun. As you will be able to hear when you're listening to the pod, Kailee and I look up to these two quite a bit as they have been huge mentors for both of us over the past, 4 years now, and have helped both of our businesses grow immensely. They've been huge in not just businesses, but life too, and fitness. So it was really fun having them on, and we talked about so many different things, from turning different opportunities we have into growth opportunities. We talked about our passion, where that comes from. We talked about what Taylor refers to as the high performer's dilemma. We talked about redefining growth. We talked about building trust in ourselves. Kailee and I even got to answer a fun question at the end, so make sure to stick around for that, and got the pod kind of flipped back on us. So that was really fun. So we hope you enjoy this episode, and if you do, as always,
please follow us, give us a review, and please share the pod if you like it and if you felt like you were expanded during this, because I know we definitely were. So we appreciate you for listening, and we hope you enjoy this one.
Thanks, y'all.
What is up, everyone? We've got a couple new first-time situations happening on the podcast today. Number one, this is the first time we've had 4 people on the pod. So that's pretty lit. And number 2, it's the first time having Christine on the pod. Technically, Taylor, you have been on the pod, even though we kind of stole the episode we did for your podcast. And that was episode 4, which is also crazy because that was like 2 years ago. So welcome back, Taylor. Christine, thanks for being here. I'm super hyped. We're super hyped to do a roundtable of sorts and talk about a lot of different mindset, business, entrepreneur, health, fitness stuff. And we're going to see where the conversation goes. As I was just saying too, I always get a little nervous when I'm in the same room as you two for the best reason possible, because I always have to think deeper than I know going into it too that I'm going to be thinking deep, and then you two both say something that pushes me to be like, oh man, now I got to go even deeper with my thoughts. And then I leave the conversation usually like either ready to run through a brick wall, or like just asking questions of myself for the next 3 days of how I'm going to grow this or that, or and whatnot. And but Kailee and I are both very appreciative of you being here and of all you've done for us. I know Kailee literally yesterday was talking about Christine, how much of an impact you've had on her life. My business literally went 2 times per month in revenue working with you both. So I'll stop blabbing. We'll also do an intro, probably better than that even once this is all done and whatnot. So I'm going to turn it to you both. We always start our episodes by asking, who are you? What do you do? And why do you do it? And I'm going to let you two fight over who wants to go first, because I know you're both so eager to go first. So go ahead.
Ladies first. I'm a gentleman. It's got to be Christine.
I knew that was coming. Yeah, I'm Christine Hernandez. I am one of the co-founders for Growth Circle. And yeah, what do? I would say, if I put this quickly, because I can be long-winded, I help people turn their chaos or their challenges into the biggest opportunities of their life. Why do I do that? Because I've had all of the challenges in my life, everything from being an 18 mom to being a bodybuilder and almost losing my life because I wasn't prioritizing my health. And every single one of those challenges has been literally the opportunity that has been the catalyst into the next season of growth and really recreating myself. And so I just think there's such an opportunity. I know I use that word a lot, you'll see. But I think there's such an opportunity to not look at challenges in isolation, but really look through them and ask the question, is this happening to me, or is this happening for me? And that's exactly why I do what I do. And I love every day that I get to wake up and help someone turn the thing that feels like is weighing them down into the best thing that's ever happened to them. So that's me in a nutshell.
It's hard. That's a hard act to follow. What am
I know,
supposed to
you
do
should have
with
went
that?
first.
Same thing.
Man,
So much for being a
That's a real
gentleman,
mistake.
Taylor.
All right, give me the questions again. Who am I? What do I do? Why do I do it?
Money. You hit it right on the
Okay.
spot.
Great. I'm a good listener. Who am I? My name's Taylor Thomas. Among other things, I am the other co-founder of Growth Circle, and I'm committed to a couple things. One, I'm committed to helping people find the relationships they need to flatten the learning curve. There's so much, specifically in the world of entrepreneurship, there's so much competition. There's so many silos. And I truly believe, and I've seen it in my own life, that we could do more together. And that when we're in a room with people that are hungry and driving at the same or similar goals, that there's a real power in that. And so one of my, the things that gets me out of bed in the morning is a commitment to, either be that relationship for someone or put people in contact with the relationships that help them get to their goals faster. The reason that I do that is I am on a war path to provide more value that I'm asking for. I will go to sleep every single day knowing that I put more in the world than I took out, and I'm going to continue to live by that until they put me in the ground. And if that is so I can make an impact on people's lives and create environments where people can thrive and do things that scare the hell out of them, but then ultimately they recognize that they were capable of doing all along. They just needed the right support.
I thought that was beautiful too. Great, Taylor.
Yeah, it's a lot of
I got
pressure.
lost in both of them.
I
Got
saw
lost in both
Christine
of
looking
those.
at me too. I felt like she's gonna talk to me about it later about how I did or didn't do it right. It's a
Wow,
whole
you guys
thing.
are so approachable and nice.
No, Christine's very kind. That's the Christine only I know. You guys don't see that version.
Yeah. Mhm.
Where do you think that passion comes from for either one of you or just an entrepreneur in general? But you two specific, and Kaylee, you too. I feel as though are extremely passionate about Taylor. I wrote down helping people find relationships, and Christine, I wrote down breaking barriers so people can massively grow. Like where does the passion for that come from?
It's a good question. It's actually something I've wrestled with. I think for me, I'll obviously I can only speak for myself, but I I think that there's a lot of pressure placed on passion, right? That there's this idea that we wake up every day and we are passionate and driven and excited and motivated. And there's this energy that is inherent when we are doing something that we believe in. And in my experience, that's not the case, right? My passion comes to a relentless commitment to my mission and my vision. And by staying clear on that, and working with people that I believe in and that support that mission and vision, and constantly aligning myself with people that inspire me and that are hungry, I find that passion in that process. But there's lots of gaps in that passion. There's days and weeks where I'm like, come on, passion. Like, it'd be great. It's 3 a.m. I can't sleep. I'm in my office working alone. Like, that's not a particularly passionate environment, but I know that if I just keep stacking bricks, if I keep showing up, that passion will come. And when it does, it's a fire and it's incredible. And then that carries me into the next, through the next dry spell, so to speak. So I always try to encourage people, like, don't wait for passion. Movement creates passion, creates energy, creates momentum. Like, get moving to get motivated. Don't wait for motivation and passion to move you. Because I think that that's an inappropriate relationship or kind of equation when it comes to how the role that passion plays in our lives.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think for me, it's kind of two places. I would say I am the less steady and more emotional one out of Taylor and I's working partnership. But I think I think that like the thing that keeps me going, or where I find my passion on the days that I like don't want to get out of bed or don't want to do whatever thing that I have to face that day or get to face that day, is just like the next generation or the people, my clients. Like, I keep my clients' testimonies and things that they have broken through and things that they've accomplished in front of my face as much as I can, because there has to be a reason of why I'm doing it. Like, I've owned businesses that felt transactional and that felt so meaningless on those days because it didn't, like, yeah, I was making great money, like more money than most people will ever make, but it was so meaningless to me and it didn't matter. And I didn't want to go to work. And I woke up every single day asking myself, literally driving to work an hour and 20 minutes because I live very far from my place of business and my first company. And I asked myself every single day, is this all there is? Like, this is it. I have the house, the car, the 2.5 kids, and I actually kind of hate all of it. Like, if I'm honest, having 2-year-olds and running a business is like the worst idea known to man. And it was not fun. And I think if I would have been doing something that was meaningful and that I felt like I was making a true impact with, and I went to school for what I was doing at that point. I thought it was going to be the best thing, and it actually wasn't. And I think just actually doing something and keeping the impact that I'm making and the needles I'm moving in front of me, I think is the thing that where I draw my passion from. It's also this conviction of like, not on my watch. Like, no one is going to experience the level of what I've experienced in my life without the support that I needed and didn't have. Like, no one needs to do it alone. And if I can help that, I'm going to. And I'm going to like run my race as hard as I can so that people have the support that they need so that they can make the decisions that actually feel purposeful. So I think it's that. It's like, it's this like almost anger that I think sometimes charges me. I am like an angry person naturally, I think. I'm a little fiery, but I think I've learned how to I've learned how to use that instead of it me just being an angry person that moves through the world and probably isn't the nicest person. I've learned how to use that for good and actually make a change in the world that I'm proud of. And if I'm not proud of it, I'm not doing it. And I think that's been the shift for me. Is just like, I got to do something I'm proud of. So it's not a clean answer, but I think that's where it comes from.
How did you like even come to terms with almost like your personality and like kind of being able to like redirect that like fiery energy?
Yeah. Like two freaking decades of work. Um, that's a good question, Kailee. Honestly, like this is an answer that's probably like, or it seems simple in my head. Like, the Enneagram gave me so much. I think that's why we use that tool in our work and with all of our coaching. But um yeah, it just like, it was the first time in my whole life. I think I took that test or like really started to dig into it when I was probably like 25, 26. And I remember reading through that I was a challenger on the Enneagram. Like, oh, I'm not just a bitch, I'm a challenger. Like, there's a name for this. And I remember like then seeing how I can grow through to the helper and I can soften and that I don't actually just have to stay this bitch. Like, I don't have to stay mad. I don't have to push my way through life. And I think I really did get obsessed with like, how can I do that? Like, I don't know a world where I don't have to protect myself relentlessly and I can actually make an impact without this like angry, fiery person that's pushing her way through the world. And so I think it was honestly like the Enneagram gave me a lot of access to like understanding who I've been in stress versus who I get to go to in growth. Um, and then I think just seeing like how my anger funneled incorrectly can impact the world negatively. And there's no pause on impact. You're either making a negative impact or a positive impact. And we can make a negative impact on that barista that takes our coffee order, or we can make a positive one and she's going to go and impact the rest of her world right? And it's just this ripple that we typically don't take seriously. And I saw that in action. Like I got to see that in real time where I literally a barista, that's why I use an example. I was nasty every single day to a barista. Like, just like, give me my coffee. I don't want to talk to you. Leave me the hell alone. Like, I just funnel, right? I'm here to get what I need and leave transactional. And one day she was like, what is going on in your world that you're just so nasty to me every day? And it was one of those moments that just like knocks you. And I wasn't like, I didn't say anything mean to her. I just was like physically just dismissive, right? Like, just give me my coffee. This is what your job is. And it just knocked me on my ass. Like, I am making such a negative impact when I could smile at her and ask her how her day is going. And instead, I'm just so in my own world and not being intentional. And it like really did shift. She's like, I am stressed about you coming in every single day. I was like, that is the saddest thing I've ever heard. Like, I wish I knew where that woman was today because it's changed my life. So I think for me, that's probably, yeah, that's probably how it's a lot of answers like that. But I think there's little moments like that where you just don't know the impact you're making on people until it's like smacks you in the face.
Thanks for sharing that.
No. Kaylee, you
For
didn't
people,
give your answer. Oh, go ahead.
oh, sorry, just really quick with it. The Enneagram.
Yeah.
For people who don't know what that is, where would be like a good place for them to like, I forget what the like website thing is that you.
Y- Yeah. So one of my favorite resources is the Enneagram Institute. And that's just enneagraminstitute.com. They have like great resources where you can like research your site, your type. You can take a test. Or if you want a great book, Road Back to You is like a great starter book for that. Don't ask me who wrote it because I don't remember, but Road Back to You is kind of entry level book to kind of just get your feet wet and figure out like maybe what type you are. Self-discovery is better than taking a test, but taking a test makes it easy.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, because I feel like that was really beneficial when we went through that too.
Yeah, it's a helpful tool specific to business ownership and athletics and all of the different things. So
Do you remember what you were, Kaylee?
she's a
I
3.
had to just go relook.
Thank you.
Do you remember what I
Yeah.
was? I have it.
Yes, you are a 7. You're an enthusiast, Jacob. Does that sound right?
That was my second. That was my second. No, that was my third. That was my third.
What's your
Third.
what's your first one?
Helper.
I think you
Was-
were. Oh, yeah, you're a helper. Yep, you're a 2.
So
That's
I remember
right.
I was actually kind of surprised by that I wasn't, because it was helper, achiever, and enthusiast, and I was surprised that it wasn't like an achiever or an enthusiast first.
3 was achiever, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
Kaylee, I know for sure you're a 3. Yeah, that's right, Jacob. You're a 2, which is, and you guys, I think, are wings of each other too. So,
Yeah, I do remember we went over that too.
What do you
That was
mean?
cool.
What do you mean by that? What's the wing thing?
so you gravitate, Jacob. You, we're getting really deep on Enneagram. So if you guys want to learn more and you don't
That's what this
know about it,
about.
I know it's, but so in the Enneagram, there's wings. So, the numbers on the side of you, it's a circle. There's 9 types. So the numbers to the side of you. So Jacob, you're 2. So 1 and 3 can be your wing. You wing to achiever. That's your second number. That's not always the case, but I remember you wing to the achiever. So you help to achieve and you help others achieve. That's like a part of, if you look at what you do for work, you love to help others achieve. That's like
Right.
literally
Yeah.
who you are.
Right,
And then
right.
Kaylee is a achiever first, and then she helps people. So she achieves to help people. So her brain and the way she's systemized, she is going to do the things and in order so that she can help others achieve. Like she's a lot more systemized than you are. And you're a little bit more of that like emotions first. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to do this to achieve something. Like, it's not just help to make people feel good. You're like, no, there's like something more here. So there you go. You guys just
So
got
like a leadership
analyzed.
perspective, Kaylee is the one that's like people are following her, but she's like not really asking anyone to follow, and I'm like more of like the like kind of trying get the wave to come with me kind of a deal. That's how I'm interpreting it. What do
Yeah,
you
that's a
think?
good way to explain it. Yeah,
I think I
she's more focused on she's more like
myself and
just yeah.
not in not you're not more focused on yourself, but you get what I'm saying.
Super
No, it's
self-centered.
achievement. Yeah. It's achievement to help others where you're helping others to achieve. So it's just like flops. And so yeah, that's why you guys make great partners and you can see through your work, that's what you do too. So
Going back to that passion, I wanted to make a comment. So both of you, it seemed like so typically passion and why. A lot of times people think we need to have some moment or defining moments that are driving us, right? It seemed like both of you were more saying, not that you don't need that, but you were both saying create the moments, just do the things, right? And keep going. And then the passion, the why or whatever, the fire then comes. Am I right in saying that? Would you say? Follow up question
That's
to
yeah. Go ahead, Jacob.
I follow a question to that then, because I agree. And I feel like a lot of times I just I'm I don't especially as I've kind of worked through demons of my past or what demons, whatever they are. Maybe they're good things that give me a spark, whatever. Um, I have been kind of I'm just going to keep going because I'm addicted to the feeling that I'll get later, even if I don't need to use whatever I'm doing right now for a past why. Right. So my question with that is, how the heck do you stay present if you're just always chasing the feeling then of that future flame? Because then I get into that flame and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Next thing, right? And I feel like I'm like that. I won't speak for Kaylee, but maybe say that we're both like that. Maybe you two are.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to parse this out and organize it. I'll say overarchingly, what you just described, Jacob, is what I call the high performer's dilemma, right? Any individual who is goal oriented is always going to struggle to sit in the moment and recognize where they're at, and then rectify that with where they want to be. There is always this inherent push and pull. Unless you are comfortable plateauing, you don't ever get to be. You're never not thinking about where you want to be. So I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. I agree with you, and that is what I'm saying. Is I think I've seen so many people, and again, I think for me it's largely just a language shift, that we just need to align expectations with ourselves and how we move through the world, instead of being hamstrung by waiting on external circumstances, aka passion, to come and light our fire. Why don't we go engage and create that, and let's try some things on, and let's fail, and let's see, right? And I've found that every single time I take action, even if it's not the penultimate version of what I want to do, I'm that much closer to quote unquote passion. And I'm also the first to say, like I said earlier, I think those days when it feels like you're fired up and passionate are few and far between. That's what makes them so special, right? Most days, I'm just working. I'm just I'm just doing. I don't feel particularly inspired to exercise. I don't, but I know that brick by brick, again, it's a step closer to being passionate. I know that I've had enough of those days where I do break through, and I'm like, this is great. I'm in the right room. I'm having the right conversations. And I know that is because I've put myself in a place day after day for long enough to experience those things, right? The right doors don't open if you don't take steps towards them. And so I think that there is just an opportunity to realign how we talk about passion and then where we find it. It's not going to walk through our living room, right? And searching on the internet for what I think I'm passionate about is not going to get me any closer to living out my passion. And so I always want to encourage people, get moving to find your momentum. Don't wait for momentum to sweep you up to then take you closer to what you think you might be passionate about. And then again, like back to the high performance dilemma piece. I mean, I think this is a real struggle. Like, I'll be honest. I mean, my greatest struggle in my entire life is to be present. I'm very rarely where I'm at right now, right? Like, I can be in this conversation, but on the whole, it is a extreme challenge for me. What I've tried to do, and I can only speak from my own personal experience, but what I've tried to just repeat to myself is that just because I'm not where I want to be, it doesn't diminish where I'm at right now. And it doesn't mean that where I'm at right now is less than or not good or not valuable. It just means that I'm still moving. But what that does for me is just a mantra is to help me focus on the value of right now. Because we do have a tendency to say, well, if I'm not where I want to be, then this place must not be that valuable. I must need to keep moving. It's not worth it for me to pay attention now. I'll pay attention when I get to this place, to this other thing, this new goal, but it's always 10 yards down the field, right? The goalpost is always moving. As you guys know, you get to the goal and the thing, finish the race, launch the business, do the next goal, boom, immediately. Right. And so I think we have to train ourselves to be okay with and sit in the space we're in now. We can still strive, but it doesn't diminish the work that we put in. It doesn't mean that what we've accomplished right now isn't valuable. And, I love that like reflection question that's just, floating around the world. It's just like, the like 10 years ago version of you would have lost their entire mind if they would have known where they'd be right now, right? The 30-year-old version of Taylor, if I could speak to him and be like, this is where you'll be and this is what you'll be doing and these are the opportunities, I'd be like, you can go to hell. That's a lie. like there's no way, right? Like it would be, I would never, because it's crazy. Like, and we also, I think, need to expand our time horizons. We think that things happen really quickly. And the fact of the matter is they don't. We have to sit in ambiguity and discomfort for much longer periods of time than any of us care to actually admit. That's great, right? Like decades go by like that. And, it takes so long to stack experiences and stack opportunities. And, I did a post about that the other day on Instagram about, I turned 40 this year and several years ago, I like read this excerpt in this book, which is like the distilled down. It was that your 30s are practice and your 40s are when you start to play the game. And at that time, I was in my mid 30s and I was like, that's BS. I've had lots of success. I've launched 6 businesses. I've exited businesses. I've done all these things. I was like, don't tell me what I get to do in my 30s. And now that the like summation of all of these stacked experiences has brought me to where I'm at, I actually see that. I'm like, oh, like now it's time for deployment. Like now I've had nearly 20 years as an entrepreneur and all of the highs and lows that come with that and massive failures and big swings for the fences. And I've ran some of the hardest races in the world and raced bikes professionally. I've done all of these things. Now I get to deploy. Right. And it really like just sitting with that kind of blew my mind because I was like, the time horizon just has to be so much longer. 20 years it's taken me to really get to a place where I can confidently say, like, I deserve to be in the room. Like I've stacked enough bricks. I don't have all the answers. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. That's not what I'm saying. But I know that like it just has taken that much time. And I think that really helps me, like, back to your question, Jacob, that helps me like kind of rectify this feeling of like, I'm not where I want to be, but I know that it just takes time to sit in where I'm at right now. And you can't rush it, right? All you get is today. There's a Chinese proverb that says like, there's no such thing as tomorrow because it's not promised, right? Tomorrow doesn't exist today. It's a possibility. We hope that it's there, but today is the day. and you just keep sitting in that day after day. And I think that helps me kind of, make peace with, yeah, I have massive goals and I'm not stopping anytime soon, but I am still happy with where I'm at today, and I can enjoy that as best I can.
Mhm. This reminds me too what you're saying. I had a conversation with a newer entrepreneur yesterday, and we were talking about imposter syndrome and how he's struggling with that. And like we're both more like the practitioner coaching realm too. And what I was saying, because I feel like sometimes it's hard to do the movement, like you're saying, because you feel like you don't have enough to say or enough like wisdom to like help other people with where they're at right now. And it might have actually been you, Christine, too, when we were talking. 'Cause this was like a huge struggle for me at the beginning of my business too. And remembering like people are coming to see us for the knowledge that we have right now. They're not, they don't want to wait until we're in our 40s or our 50s. Like, yes, we are going to be at this other level when we are 40s and ready to deploy and play ball. But a lot of people also want what we have right now. And I think that's why, like, thinking of like the movement too, it's like you have to just be taking these steps and you have to be willing to put yourself out there all the time and no matter what, knowing that there isn't, in my mind, there's never like this end game, right? Like we're continuing to grow and we're continuing to get better, but there's never just going to be like this stop. And even Christine and I worked together before my first 100 too. And I knew that when I would hit that 100-mile mark, that wasn't just like, okay, now I've done this 100-miler and now I'm good. And now I've just like achieved this, or like your bike races, Taylor. It's like, that's not just like, that's not it. And, but then also like being able to sit in that. And I know we talked about like, I think you had me do like 3 things I was proud of from the race. And I think it was 3 things that,
One. You get one
sorry,
thing you can
one.
change.
One thing I could change. And I just really liked, I've like carried that through my other races too. And I just think it's very important to like be able to sit in those accomplishments, but knowing that we're just going to continue to grow and continue to be proud of ourselves and continue to like help a lot of people and not just
Yeah.
waiting.
You gotta train yourself to celebrate the small wins too. Like that's a skill, like every day, recognizing wins, knowing that it's not some big shiny thing. It can be that, but just, yeah, that every day, build that in to how you reflect. And it is crazy. That's something that Christine and I have worked a lot on, like internally in our team structure, is that every time we like have an interaction, we start with wins. We have massive goals and we are performance driven organizations. Christine and I own 3 companies between the 2 of us that we're still actively involved in right now. Like we have to perform. There's a lot on the line. There's people that there's people's livelihoods at stake, all these things. We start with wins, right? And we recognize wins on a daily basis. And it is incredible the shift. You start to see them. You have the hardest days and you're like, no, like that's a win. This small thing, this tiny, I went for a run amidst a 16-hour work day. I had dinner with my wife. I went outside with my dog. It's small things, right? It doesn't have to be these monumental, sexy, big. It's just like, what's the wins, right? And that's been super impactful for me. I'm the worst at that. I have no interest in celebrating wins. Thanks to Christine and my deep, deep caring for the people that we work with, I've forced myself to try to be better at that so that I can be the person that I want to be for the people around me. And it's been massively impactful. Like back to your question, Jacob, like that's been a major tool for me, is just train yourself. What's the win today? Just because it's not the big thing at the end of the road, the year goal, the 5, the 10, the whatever. I had some wins today, and if I'm lucky enough to get tomorrow, I'll have some wins tomorrow too. Right. And then you see that those stack over even just like short periods of time, right? A month. And I think reflection is a superpower. And we don't take time to do that. Not really, like not in a meaningful way where we actually, that's something that Christine and I do, is like list out your wins at the beginning of each month over the last 30 days. Like, what happened? What were your successes? And then also to that end, like, name your failures, right? Because there's no such thing. The only failure is if you don't learn from the failed thing, right?
Yeah, I think the shift for me has been driving from enough versus for enough. Like, I think for so long, I love what you said, Kaylee, and just that reminder that I'm enough right now to start the business. I'm enough right now to start training for the race I want to do. I'm enough. I'm driving from enough, not to be enough. And I think that that's like, Taylor and I were at dinner at this great restaurant in LA a couple months ago, and I was like not being present and not in the moment and not celebrating my wins. And I forget exactly what he said to me, but it was just interesting. Like his words essentially were like, I hope in this next season you'll just like embrace who you are and like have the real version of what the rest of the world sees. And I like it is sat with me for the last few months. And it's just like, oh, I was in a season of driving for enough. Like, I don't actually, reflection to the point of reflection, like, I don't actually know who I am to the world. I just like have this weird, messed up, like misaligned version of the person that I think I am. And that's not actually how I show up. Like, it's an old version of myself. And if I truly believed in this moment that I was enough, I would stop being in tomorrow or the next day or 5 years from now and wishing for that day to come. And I would just be like obsessed with the process versus the result. And I would just learn to be in like, I think that's something we focused on, Kaylee, in your race too. It was like just enjoying it versus like needing to be at the finish line. And I think for a lot of like mental performance wise, a lot of racers or entrepreneurs, we obsess about the finish line and then we get there and it's like, it's really not that sexy to finish. And it's like there's actually sadness, I think, for most of us when we arrive, because you don't feel any different. You actually feel like the same version of yourself, just more beat up. But it's really falling in love with the process and like enjoying the process. And so many people have said that to me, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, yeah, whatever. But when we actually get that, we're not driving to be enough and we're just like, I am enough and I'm doing this because I love it. I think that feels totally different. And I'm like still so in the process of learning that. And it's a constant, like, it's kind of like meditation. Like, you start down the path and you like forget that it's not about the finish line. And you're like, oh yeah, I get to enjoy this process. Like, that's actually where life is right here, right now, and not at the finish line. And like, if I can do that, then I might enjoy the finish line more. And that is actually the name of the game. Like, that's actually the gold medal here. And there's so many finish lines. I remember cutting my ribbon on like the day I opened one of my first businesses. And it's like, I was so out of body, not living in that moment, that I literally don't remember it. Like, people are like, remember? I'm like, I don't, because I just wasn't even there. It was so surreal and I hadn't learned how to enjoy the process. I didn't enjoy that day. So I've heard from a lot of people don't remember their wedding day because of that. A lot of people don't remember the race at the end, right? The finish line. They just don't remember because they're so beat up, so out of body, that we can't embrace it. We can't actually live within it because we're looking for something to make us enough versus just knowing that we are enough and we already have impact. So I think that's my answer to your original question, Jacob, is just like, just learning to fall in love with yourself in the process of growth and like driving from a different place, which is so much easier said than done.
Oh yeah. Well, it's hard too, like, especially with a lot of people that we work with, all four of us, and that listen to this pod and stuff. Like, as someone who is always like that gets that is always trying to win and always trying to drive for more and things like that, it's hard to sit with that. Like, it's hard to sit with accepting that you're enough. Because like for me, when I sit with those moments of, you know, I think I've done enough for this month. right? That accepting that is like the struggle. It's like, no, I can't accept that I've done enough, right? It's like you need to keep going and keep driving, right? So even like with our wedding coming up, I feel like, and this year actually, I've been focusing a lot on. I keep telling myself that when I'm 70, this is a year specifically that I'm gonna be like, damn, I should have enjoyed that year more, you know? And so that's one thing that I've been doing this year specifically that is definitely changing my life drastically because I've never really done that. Like I mean, high school, college, out of college for sure. The first like 5 years of building the business, chasing PRs, like all of that. I've always just been focusing on the next thing and not just relishing in that. Again, kind of going back to like, I have enough right now. This is good. Because like, again, the hard part with that is I'm almost scared that by saying that I'll get stuck like and plateau there, which I think from time to time though, I think that's actually okay. I think it's okay to just vibe and chill and like be where your feet are, you know? But I think I know 99% of people I work with, 90% of the people Kaylee works with, I know the people listening to this struggle with that concept. So I don't have necessarily a question. I'm just pointing that out.
Yeah, I think you have to. One, I think you're right, or I agree with you that plateaus in the right season aren't a bad thing, right? Let me like take a half step back. I think that there is a real opportunity to redefine what it looks like to actually grow, right? This whole idea of like 1% better every day, but like that's BS. No, 1% better today, 20% worse tomorrow, 50%. Like it's not up and out, right? Like what that the narrative kind of collectively about growth that we have largely built, and kind of agreed upon as a social contract is that it has to go up and out, right? That it is a diagonal line on a graph between the X and Y axis that always goes out and we get better, better, better. And if it takes a slump at all, it's all a waste, right? We've now diminished all of the effort. And it's just not true. Growth is a extremely dynamic process. There's wild swings towards things that feel like setbacks or are very real setbacks and failure. And then there's swings where we have, big pushes where we feel that growth and we feel that energy and we connect with that passion like we talked about. But growth is not up and out, and there's lots of peaks and valleys in that. And I think we also have to understand the relationship between challenges in our lives and seasons of growth. And what I mean by that is the inherent equation that has to exist for growth to be present is one of friction. Right? We have to be in friction, in some sort of like pushback, because that means that we're growing through that into the person that we need to be. Right? If we want to be a better runner, you have to run faster. You have to go to the gym. You have to get stronger. Well, there's friction there, right? Your body won't receive that today. It doesn't create fitness this week. It's, 8, 12, 16. We stack months over months. And then on the other side of that, we have that breakthrough run, right? We have that tempo run that feels great. We end up maybe having a PR, but I think we have to align our expectations with knowing that when we're in seasons that feel challenging, it's probably because we're pushing towards growth. And I think that we get in our heads about what that actually means. When we're in challenging seasons, I think that we make that mean something about us. So this doesn't feel easy. I must be messing it up. Maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe I'm an imposter. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this at all. Maybe we're exactly where we need to be and we put ourselves exactly in the right situations. It's just that we're growing through it. And inherently, we don't have the skills and the tools and the know-how and the knowledge because we're becoming a new person, right? Our bodies aren't able to do that. Our minds aren't able to do that. Our mindset is not where it needs to be, but it will be. If we just recognize that relationship, if we know that when we're in those seasons where things feel challenging, good. Because there's no world where on the other side of that, if we continue, like Christine said, to fall in love with the process, there's no world on the other side of that where we're not better for it, right? We're not a different person. And so I always try to catch myself, those weeks and months and even years. Again, if we extend the time horizon, we're like, man, this feels hard, right? Like my body's not responding. I don't feel it. It's all, nothing seems to be clicking. Good. Right? It must mean that I'm in it. It must mean that I'm putting myself in the right position, in the right places, and having the right conversations. And if I'm struggling, then that I know that I'm not going to give up. Right? There's no world where I pull the plug. So great. On the other side of this, however long it lasts, like I'm better for it. And so I think that we also conflate those time periods with plateaus, where we think because it's hard, it must mean that we're not good enough or we're not growing, or no, like that means that you're moving through it, right? It probably is just taking longer and it's harder than we thought it was going to be. Right. And I think that's a good thing. I think there's so much power in the language that we use internally to describe how we're wrestling with the world around us. And I think if we can just change that internal dialogue and that narrative, it helps us think differently about how we reach our goals. And then back to your question a little bit ago, Jacob, I think it also helps us be more firm in where we're at. Right? If we're in a season where we just want to be, right? You guys are in the build up to your marriage, to your wedding, and you get all this, like, that's not a plateau, right? That's a conscious decision to grow in that direction, right? You're growing in your relationship. All the things don't grow all at once either, right? We're like, I'm in growth mode. And we're like, it's physical, it's relationship, it's emotional. No, like sometimes it's one thing, right? Like you might see massive growth in your relationship and your ability to be present in that. And maybe that means that some other kind of arm of your life, maybe that goes into maintenance mode, but you've redirected that energy into growth in another place. And I know that I'm always hard on myself. Like if everything's not always growing better physically, I'm a better husband, I'm a better business, I'm like, good Lord, the pressure of that. Like I got to give myself a break, like there's a finite amount of energy. So I think we also need to like think about those things critically and understand like in what direction are we actually looking for growth and how do we define success? You wanting your feet firmly planted so that you could be present in the run up to the best day of your entire life is not a plateau. That's a conscious decision to grow in a very specific direction. That doesn't mean the other things fall away either, right? It doesn't mean you get worse as a runner. It doesn't mean your business takes a hit. It just means that you're consciously and intentionally directing energy towards growth in a very specific area. So I think we can define that like collectively a bit different as well, where we can just be a little less hard on ourselves. Everything doesn't have to grow all at once, all the time, up and out, boom, 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 every day. Like, no, it's okay, right? Like we can kind of let things ebb and flow, and the sum total of that can still absolutely be growth.
I think one thing that's helped me a lot actually is I think about whenever I hear the word scarcity or scarcity mindset, you two are the first people that come to mind. In a good
Hopefully,
way, not like
I was
you.
like, I'm going to need you to give me more, Jacob. Otherwise, I'm going to think that I really.
In like the sense that was one thing that really changed in my mind. And what I mean by that is that the old Jacob in this scenario and the build up to his wedding would be very scared. I'm going to use fitness and my business, our business as an example. I'd be very scared of like taking a month off of either of those, right? Because it's like, oh man, if I take a month off of running, I'm going to lose all that fitness. Or if I take a month off of my business, like we're going to lose so much money and clients. And those thoughts come in, but now they're meted with like, all right, if that happens, we'll do it again. Like it'll be fine. It'll come back. Right. And I feel like that mindset shift, big kudos to both of you, is what I'm trying to say, for instilling that in me, because I use that a lot now. And like in January specifically, I had a record month and I didn't do any marketing, and I didn't do like I wasn't like even like, it sounds egotistical, arrogant. I wasn't like trying. I was a month where I was like, I'm gonna just chill, and it ended up being an amazing month. And I know that that's not how it always goes, but like letting go of like I have to keep moving the needle and all of that. Sometimes it actually rewards us. So I think, yeah, props to you. Thanks for instilling, helping me have that like 70% of the time. 30% of the time, Kaylee has to remind me of this is a scarcity mindset you're using right now. But
Well,
70%,
we
maybe.
all get pulled back in it, And specific
Yeah.
to the business piece, I'll just add quickly, that happened because you had done the work to allow that, like that didn't happen in isolation. It wasn't because the work in January yielded the results in January. It was the stacked cumulative effort. And we, again, I think that's where we have to, there's lagging indicators. Lagging
Is that
indicators of
why
our
February was
fitness.
my worst month ever?
What's that?
I'm just kidding. That was a joke. Sorry. Go ahead.
I didn't hear you. What'd you say? I want to catch it.
Is that why February ended up being my worst month ever? I did nothing in
Well,
January.
it's interesting. Yeah. I
was
mean,
kidding.
we always like, again, there's these like the work that we do now, we won't see results. Christina and I have done a lot of research on this, and something we actually talk a lot with our like people that we work with is you don't see results of what you're doing now for 90 to 120 days minimum. So that's, we, again, back to that like pressure that we put on ourselves and the mindset around that. What we do today doesn't impact this week, right? Now, we can have some wins. We can recognize that, we can reflect, but you gotta, it's all lagging indicators. There's a long tail impact here where, that January for you was the result of your work in September and October, July and August of the previous year, right? Well, it could go back even further. And that's where we start to chase the wrong solutions in the moment because we don't understand how work stacks. We're like, oh, this is a great month. What did I do this month? And it may be like, to use like hyperbole, like maybe nothing, right? Like January, it wasn't because of January. It was because of all of the like growth you had seen and things you had put in place. Then you got to reap the benefits of that. So again, I think just as like another layer on the growth side of things, when we have those moments, those breakthroughs, we need to reflect. That's why I said reflection is a superpower, because it's not what we did today. It's not what we did this week, and it's probably not what we did this month. It's what we've done 6 months ago, and so there's so much opportunity there again to just expand that concept and kind of mindset around growth.
I appreciate you saying that about scarcity. Jacob, I think that that's something that I will spend my entire life trying to understand, because I think it's something that any type of fear like just stops us from actually living to the full potential of what we're created for in a healthy way. And I think I have this like new concept of what I believe, or I've like unpacked abundances, and I've been here for probably about a month, just like watching this unfold in my own life. And I think abundance, I heard this quote a couple of months ago. Oh, I think the quote that I was hearing.
What happened?
Did I do something?
We okay?
It's like
You
echoing.
hear, you hear the feedback?
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's done. Okay.
Now it's good. Yeah.
The quote that I heard a couple of months ago was abundance isn't excess, abundance is trust. And like that is just like I've thought about this like a million times since I heard that. And I'm like, I think in our heads, like abundance, having all like access to all the things that matter to us, it's not actually having access in any areas. It's actually having the ability to trust that like it's ours. It's having the ability to trust ourselves with it. It's having the ability to be able to like, if we don't have a great month, like we can rebuild it. Like every billionaire has like in this world, I think right now, stats, I think like most of them have filed for bankruptcy and like recreated it, right? And so our ability to trust and what we put our trust in is absolutely the thing that keeps us like in a state of abundance and out of scarcity. And I think there's just such brilliance in that. So I don't know if we have time for this, but I have a question for you guys.
Yes.
Okay. What do you feel like you're putting your trust in right now? What do you where like I don't think the question is do you trust? I think the question is what do you trust? What do you think you're putting your trust in right now?
Well, do you want to go first?
No.
Like honestly, what comes to mind, I feel like we talk about this a lot. I'm I trust in specifically Kaylee and I as a team together. And like it's like when I have low moments or doubts or whatever, I trust in the fact that like the future, our future, the security we have that we've built, like at the end of the day, like we have each other and that's going to be there. Like I feel like that is a huge driving factor for me. Um, whereas I'm not saying like it's just Kaylee either, right? Like I'm not saying like Kaylee is the reason that like like Kaylee holds me together. Like I hold myself together, Kaylee holds herself together. We're very independent individuals. But together I feel as though like when one of those pillars kind of goes up and down, the other one's there and helping each other, in a interdependent kind of way. And yeah, that's what I think about. And that's what I definitely, we talk about all the time. Like, we're good. Like, we literally say we're good to each other, like once a week at least, whether it's literally anything, fitness, business, finance, our family, when there's when there's a stressor in an area of our life, we're like, yo, like, let's take a step back. Like, we got each other. We're good. Like, you know, um, our core values and even things to like just having a roof over our head, like trusting in like the fact that we have that privilege, right? And those smaller but huge items, right, that allow us to just keep going. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so good. And I think like I'm going to share some of your stuff. Hopefully that's okay. But I
Do
think
expose me.
just just knowing the journey that you guys have come from, like I be so proud in that because you guys have worked hard to be able to attract a person that you can truly trust, and you've had to trust yourselves to actually attract each other. Because we don't attract abundance and the things that are the best for us out of a place of scarcity. And so you guys have had to do really hard work before even meeting each other and like you've had to be introspective and you've had to reflect and you've had to do the hard stuff to be ready for each other. And like the fact that you can have that answer and that's the first thing that comes to your mind, Jacob, that's a win. Like celebrate the crap out of that because that's not an easy thing to do. Like you can look at our world and be like, yeah, most couples can't say that. So good job. You're the top 1%.
Well, I mean,
Nice.
we have
You
our
have your stuff. It's not
fight
saying
issues,
it.
whatever,
Yeah.
but I do feel like if I took an outside view and looked at where I'm at, where we're at, it's like, yeah, we've just both. I mean, I get that we're young, so we're gonna go through hard shit, right? I truly believe that like some of the shit I went through, especially in my early 20s and like even my younger years with like my parents' divorce and things like that, I really think that the silver lining of that is that it made me into a very specific person and got me to a very specific place where I was relatively secure. And then Kaylee came. And then it was like, oh shit, right? And I know you're similar. So
And you guys have continued to do the work. Like you didn't stop doing the work on yourselves when you met each other.
right,
And that
right.
that there's so much brilliance in that. And it's really fun to watch. Like the fruit that's come from your guys' relationship because you encourage each other to not put down the work and not to be codependent or lean into each other is awesome. Like that's a really hard thing to do. Super easy to hide and like, oh, he'll do the work, she'll do the work. And like just put your side down. So good work. Like that's amazing. I love your answer, Jacob. That's awesome and super raw. So thanks for sharing. Thanks for letting me ask a question. Kaylee, I'd love to hear your answer.
Can you ask the question one more time?
Yeah,
What?
what do you put your trust in? The question isn't do you trust, but what do you trust?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like my answer is definitely very similar to Jacob's, and like it's definitely trusting in the foundation that I already have. And same thing with Jacob, like we both did go through a lot, and even before we started recording this, like even like relationship wise, like I went through some really hard times in relationships, which has gotten me to where we are today and to being able to trust and like knowing what to trust as well. And like knowing good when I see it and knowing like what I want, which then, yeah, that's our relationship. Like I trust us and like you said, how every week, and we were talking about this too with Taylor when we were visiting in Livingston. You and I were talking about like, okay, so your business fails, whatever that means. Like we all know that we're gonna be able to, like we said, like pick ourselves up again because we've done it before and we know we can do that again. Like we have those skills, we have the people around us, we have each other. And I mean, how lucky is that we have that like trust in ourselves and others.
So good. I love it. I'm so excited for you guys. That's awesome. You
Thanks.
guys are in such an exciting season. So I'm so blessed to be a part of it.
Well, clearly we really appreciate the two of you too, and really appreciate you being here. Um, but okay, this brings us to our we get to do this moment for a little wrap up. Um, so for those of you who it's your first time listening to us, we always like to end our episodes with a we get to do this moment. So this can be a we get to do this moment from today, from this week, from your entire life, but a moment when you're like, wow, like I get to do this.
Hmm.
I know it's
I think
probably
my
the pod today, but you can use that if you want.
I mean, it is great. Yeah, it's such a good question. I mean, you kind of teed us up for that. Those, when we were offline prepping for this, and I've thought about it, and I was like, oh, I'd like to have some poignant answer, or something. But I, I, I really, yeah. I mean, I think it is things like this, and when I think about, we get to do this and how I get to show up, and um, you know, entrepreneurship, athletics, training for endurance sports, all these things are incredibly hard. And I think that there is just it's it's such a gift to be able to move through those really hard things and through those hard experiences connect with people that that like understand that journey, and I think we just have a tendency, even in as community based and everything as we all talk about and try to be. I think we have a tendency to be very insular, and it is there's lots of time in between those environments where we feel supported. And so I as I continue, on this path that I'm on, I find myself more and more being really, really, truly grateful for, the opportunity to have, kind of picked up, so to speak, like a handful of people that, I really admire, and you guys are certainly in that group. But yeah, like, I think that's a great way to sum it up. Like, we get to do this. We get to do really hard things, and we get to continually redefine what growth looks and feels like for us. And we get to align that growth with what our full potential is, and the best version of our life, and the best version of our businesses. And yeah, I mean, autonomy is an incredibly valuable thing, and it's pretty rare, so I feel very grateful that, like, I've never had a real job, right? Like, I've gotten to move through the world in a way that I electively and can selectively connect with people that, like, see me and get it and are hungry. And yeah, I think it sounds, I feel like that's like the sappy answer that I didn't want to give, but it's what the whole time we were talking, I was just like, that's where I keep coming back to. Like, it's, man, like, what an incredible opportunity to meet, as the as the Eddie Vedder song says, if you're lucky enough to count on one hand, the friends that you have, right? Like, I think that's a really cool thing. So I got some real ride or dies in my corner, and I'm super lucky for that.
Love it.
I love that answer. I'm glad you went there, Taylor. Thanks for being Grandpa Sappy today. You really showed up.
Yes, you're welcome. My old man wisdom from the from the summit of the old man mountain.
So good. Yeah, I was really laughing when you said that, Kailee, because I think it's getting to be a part of your guys' journey. Like, it's so exciting. I feel like I truly feel so just so honored. I was reflecting as we were talking about stuff. I was reflecting on the conversation where, like, you realized, Kailee, that you wanted to start your own business. Like, I remember sitting, I think it was like shortly after COVID, not too. I was working at home that day for whatever reason, and sitting at my kitchen table. Like, I remember the moment that, like, it clicked and you were like, it was that, like, I can't do this, and, like, how does this work? And now you guys are like, it's so natural, and it's just so fun to see. And so I totally get to be a part of your journey. And I remember meeting Jacob, and I just, like, it's been so fun to see just the progression. And so just celebrating that you guys are getting married, and you guys are running a podcast and running your businesses. That is truly a get to. And that was kind of, I guess, where I started. Like, that is where my passion comes from. And so, yeah, just, it's not all the time that I get to be a part of somebody's consistent journey. And I'm really grateful that we get to have these conversations and just continue to celebrate your guys' wins, and just, like, be on it, right? Like, you're not a client right now or anymore. And, like, I still get to have these conversations. So forever grateful. And I am, like, so excited for you guys. I know I said that already. So thanks for having us on today. This was super fun. And that's definitely my get to.
Wow. Thanks, you guys. I'm touched. No, we truly appreciate you both. And just to end with that, what's the best way for people to, like, find you, follow you, work with you? Because I know that I was expanded talking to you guys today. So for those who also want to be expanded further, where can people follow you?
Yeah, you can find us online. Impactinitiative.network is a good one-stop shop for a few of the things that we have going on. And yeah, we're on Instagram. You can find me at taylor.j.thomas. And I post a lot about the stuff that we talked about today, because it's something that I'm actively engaged in and wrestling through in real time myself. So, I always say I'm usually only about, like, a quarter a step in front of the people that I'm talking to. It's just that I maybe, like, half solved it for myself this morning, and then I get to talk to people about it that afternoon. So yeah, it's something I'm um always actively thinking about. So yeah, Christine.
Yeah, and you can find me on Instagram at Bold Leader Co. And we have really fun things. If you're in Denver ever, we do tons of free events and retreats and all kinds of fun stuff. So if you're looking to get out of the box and really shift your life up, take ownership of your life or business, like we have tons of opportunities and great partners like Kailee and Jacob that can help you really accomplish any of your goals. So that's where you can find us.
Perfect. And we'll add that to the show notes for people listening too. So thank you both so much for being here. We really appreciate you. And you've definitely changed our lives for the better. So thank you.
Thanks, guys. We
Thanks for
appreciate it.
listening, y'all.
Wow, Kailee, we made it through another episode. What do you think?
We would love if you would go give us a follow, a 5-star review, and comment on the episode and what you liked and what you'd like to see more of.
See you next time.
We get to do this.